Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, host and head bookologist here at the Get Literate podcast. I'm a book-loving, notebook-hoarding reader and writer on a mission to change lives one book and one notebook at a time. On this podcast, we explore the power of bookology and leading literate lives. We talk all things books and reading and notebooks and writing, mixed in with mindful practices and creativity to create lives we love. You can expect regular weekly episodes focused on 3 books you need to know about on a bookish theme and how to bring those themes to life in our actual lives too. You can also expect author interviews, notebooking inspiration, and topics to help us grow through what we go through and take inspired action to make our lives better. So grab a notebook and your TBR list and let's get literate. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Get Literate podcast. I'm Stephanie, your host and your head bookologist, someone who's here with reading and writing recommendations to help make life better. Whether you're looking for books to help you get through a difficult time, or you're looking for books to help you embrace a new season of life, I've got you covered. Today, we're exploring how to boost our holiday cheer through reading and writing. I mean, what better things could we talk about today? Now, depending on the holiday that you celebrate, you are likely engaging in some typical holiday activities. I know for me, we have put up our Christmas lights, which, by the way, is full-on Clark Griswold style. So many lights. I've started decorating the house a little bit. I've got my Grinch altar, if you will, in my dining room that is a fun yearly celebration. I've got my notebook out and ready to help me plan all of the things for the holiday season. And today, as I am recording this episode, we are going out to get our Christmas tree. So I am doing all the things that can really boost our holiday spirit and our holiday cheer. But there is one thing that I hadn't done yet because I have a rule that says I can't do these things until December 1st. And that's read holiday books and watch holiday movies. Now, I did break my rule a little bit on the movie issue because there have been some really wonderful movies that have been on before December 1st. But I really do try to keep the Thanksgiving holiday, and then when December 1st hits, it is full on Christmas. And it is December, which means my holiday TBR and TBW is ready. My to be read stack and my to be written list. So today we are going to boost our holiday cheer through reading and writing, but I couldn't just limit it to 3 books. There's just too many to choose from. So what I have done is create a collection of 3 of my favorite holiday reads that you must, if you haven't, 3 books that are on my personal December TBR, and 3 journal prompts that are going to get you in the spirit too. Now, if you want more than that, I've got more than that. Inside my Get Literate Patreon community, the word of the month we are celebrating together is cheer. And so on the bibliotherapy book calendar, I have 31 different books designed to give you holiday cheer. That's 1 book recommendation a day, so that if you need some more suggestions than what I'm offering on today's episode, I have you covered. You can just go to getliterate.co and take a peek. So let's get to it. Let's start with my 3 favorite books. And this was really, really hard to choose because I have many more favorites than 3 in terms of my holiday reading. But I looked at it and I thought, what are the 3 different books that I love for 3 different reasons that someone might turn to in the holiday season? And the first one up is Kristen Hanna's Comfort and Joy. Now, I know the book is titled Comfort and Joy, but Comfort and Joy was truly a comfort and joy to read. I couldn't get enough of it. Now, admittedly, the book starts out with a bang, right? And readers find right away an instant connection to Joy Candelero. She is a newly divorced woman who literally flees to find a new life. But instead, she ends up in a horrific plane crash. And I'm not giving away any spoilers because that was in the publisher's blurb too. Don't worry. Now, miraculously surviving, Joy makes a bold decision to literally leave her life behind and escape from the crash site to make a new life for herself. She meets Bobby, a 6-year-old boy who is truly in need of a friend, and his father, Daniel, who's someone who could use a friend himself. As she helps them both heal from their own traumatic events, she begins to find herself again until her world is literally tipped upside down once more. I can't say much more than that without spoiling, but this book truly, truly embraces the magic of the season, and it left me thinking, what if? It's a cozy read for any time of the season, but this fits a holiday magical mood in December perfectly. So that's Kristen Hanna's Comfort and Joy, a book that will truly bring you comfort and joy and a little bit of magic you're going to want for yourself too. Now, up next is a different kind of magic, if you will. This book is just delightful. The cover is delightful. It's a beautiful green background with holiday lights literally wrapped around the cover. It's just fantastic. And it is The Santa Suit by Mary Kay Andrews. Now, what I love about this book is the memory I have while reading it. I got up very early in the morning one Sunday. Now, I usually get up early around 5 o'clock, but I remember I just could not sleep this Sunday morning when I read it last year. And so I got up and I got my coffee and I sat on the couch next to the twinkling Christmas lights. And that's how I read this book, by the twinkly light of the Christmas tree. So it was the perfect holiday reading environment for what I think is a perfect holiday book. Mary Kay Andrews introduces us to Ivy. Don't you love these holiday names? She introduces us to Ivy, a newly divorced woman who bravely bought a rambling farmhouse, sight unseen, hours from her home in an attempt to start over. I'm just realizing that the second book has a divorce theme of starting over as well. What she doesn't expect, though, is a house full of repairs, missing furniture, or losing her job. Right? She didn't expect that to happen. As she comes to terms with this new reality of hers, a note from years and years ago captures her attention and her heart. Now, following her curiosity about that note, she connects with her neighbors, learns more about her new town, and gets her creative mojo back in the process. I won't say much more than that, but just know there is a Santa suit involved. And this book is a delight. It was sure to give you that warm and cozy feeling and will have you thinking of ways that you can bring it into your own life too. I loved this book. I do think it's the quintessential holiday read. That's Mary Kay Andrews, The Santa Suit. Now, up next is a book that I'm going to say isn't as popular. Maybe popular isn't the right word. I don't think it's as well known because I just happened to stumble upon this book. And when I talk to people about it, not many people know about it. But honestly, when I turned this last page, I hugged the book. And you know I'm a book hugger, so that probably doesn't surprise you. But I like to tell people which books I've hugged because it matters. And not only did I hug this book, but I literally hugged this book with tears streaming down my face. My gosh, I needed this book. You need this book. The world needs this book. It's called The Christmas Table by Donna Van Leary. It is the perfect feel-good holiday story, but it's told from the perspectives of two different main characters, 40 years apart. We've got Joan in 1972 and Lauren in 2012. And while they may be divided in time, they are fiercely connected, even though they don't know it, through the recipes found in their refurbished kitchen table. Now, the kitchen table is often considered the lifeblood of the home, and that is the case in this story. I was so engrossed in both of the stories, past and, well, kind of present, right? It's now 2023 and not 2012. I was so intrigued by the connections that I assumed were going to happen in the book. And I was struck by the power of the family meal, something that we don't do as often as I would like, and isn't always the relaxing nature that I found in this book. Now, this is a spiritual book, so each page is going to remind you of the power of faith, of our ability to heal and to grow, and the incredible power of coming together around what matters most. This is going to be a holiday tradition for me to reread this book, and I'm lucky because there are other books in this series. This is part of the Christmas Hope series. And so there are other stories that if this one delights you, you can find more where that came from. So that's Donna Van Leer, The Christmas Table. So there you have my three favorites: Comfort and Joy, The Santa Suit, and The Christmas Table. But I can't not mention one last book that I think if you haven't read it, it's just delightful. And that's Christmas at the Cupcake Cafe. You all know that I love Jenny Colgan and I love cupcakes. And so this book is one of my top favorites, along with the first one, which was just the original Cupcake Cafe, Meet Me at the Cupcake Cafe book. So I just had to throw that in there. If you haven't read that one, make sure you put Christmas at the Cupcake Cafe on your list. It'll take you from England to New York City on a cupcake journey. And what could be better than that? Now, let's talk about the three books that are on my TBR. The first one is The Christmas Bridge. Or no, I'm sorry. My gosh, I'm getting my old favorites and my new favorites mixed up. The first one is The Wishing Bridge by Viola Shipman. Last year, at about this time, I read Viola Shipman's book, A Wish for Winter, which I absolutely loved. And as I've mentioned before, it made me add Northern Michigan to my bucket list as a result of this book. But this is a brand new book for Viola Shipman, and it's set to be one that I know is going to be on my TBR. So since I don't know a bit about this book, let me read you what the publisher says to see if you might want to read it as well. One of the hottest mergers and acquisitions executive in the company, Henrietta Wegner, can see the ambitious and impossibly young up-and-comers gunning for her job. When Henry's boss makes it clear she'll be starting the new year unemployed unless she can close a big deal before the holidays, Henry impulsively tells him that she can convince her aging parents to sell Wegner's, their iconic Frankenmuth, Michigan Christmas store, to a massive soulless corporation. It's the kind of cool deal corporate Henry has built her career on. Home for the holidays is typically meant a perfunctory 24-hour visit for Henry and then back to Detroit as fast as her car will drive her. So turning up at the Wagner's offices in early December raises some eyebrows, from her delighted, if puzzled parents to her suspicious brother and curious childhood friends. But as Henry finds impatient texts from her boss while reconnecting with the magic of the store and the warmth of her own town, what sounded great in the boardroom begins to lose its luster in real life. She's running out of time to pull the trigger on what could be the greatest success of her career or the most awkward family holiday of her life. Doesn't that sound wonderful? I know from previous experiences how much Viola Shipman, aka Wade Rouse's writing, just hooks me into the narrative. And so I am really looking forward to diving into The Wishing Bridge and hopefully making reading a Viola Shipman book about winter in winter a yearly tradition. Now, up next, I've got The Christmas Cafe. The Christmas Cafe is written by Eliza Evans. And I loved this book. It caught my eye for a couple of reasons, but the cover is this beautiful Christmas red cover. And the iconic elements of the book, the characters, the location of the book, they are represented on the cover as sugar cookie cutouts with really cool frosting decoration, which is one of my favorite things to do around the holiday season. So the cover caught my eye instantly, and then the description made me want to open it up. Now, talk about some festive themes here. We are going to jingle all the way to Silver Bells, Wyoming for this cozy holiday read. Here's the setup. Clumsy, earnest baker Sylvie West has worked at the Christmas Cafe in Silver Bells, Wyoming, ever since her boozy eggnog fruitcake won the town's annual holiday bake-off 15 years ago. Her forever happy place, the cafe complements her sweet, well-ordered life with her roommates, recently widowed Gramps and yappy Chihuahua pug Crumpet. When Sylvie learns the cafe might be sold, she's determined to put the Christmas Cafe on the map in a big way. Good thing the Holiday Channel is filming in Silver Bells. And how perfect of bra-snatching Crumpet to have forced an awkward encounter with the film's charming lead actor, Royce. When Gramps and Sylvie make a pact to be brave this Christmas, Sylvie knows just how to stretch her wings and save the Christmas Cafe in the process. Get the film team to set a scene at the cafe. Between her newfound acting gig, a booth at the Christmas festival, an appearance at the Christmas parade, and a budding romance with Royce, Sylvie has a lot on her plate. Good thing her old friend, gruff yet reliable Abe, has just come back home to manage his parents' goat farm. That is, until she catches herself feeling all too merry and bright in his presence. With a little help from family, friends, Crumpet, and the goat farmer down the way, Sylvie just might make this Christmas the sweetest she's ever had. What a setup, right? Not only is this going to be a book about holiday cheer, but it's a book about something I also love after December 1st, which is the Hallmark Channel. So if you are addicted to Hallmark holiday movies like I am, yes, I know they're sappy, and yes, I know they're predictable, but they are just so fun and comforting, then I think The Christmas Cafe is a book that is for you. Now, my last one is a holiday book that is filled with books, too. This is called Christmas by the Book by Anne Marie Ryan. In small town England, you know I love a book set there. Two booksellers facing tough times decide to spread some holiday Christmas cheer through the magic of anonymous book deliveries in this uplifting holiday tale for book lovers everywhere. Nora and her husband Simon have run the beautiful oak-beamed bookshop in their small British village for 30 years. But times are tough, and the shop is under threat of closure. This Christmas season will really decide their fate. When an elderly man visits the store and buys the one book they've never been able to sell, saying it's the perfect gift for his sick grandson, it gives Nora an idea. She and Simon will send out books to those feeling down this Christmas. Maybe they can't save their bookstore, but at least they'll have one final chance to lift people's spirits through the power of reading. After gathering nominations online, Nora and Simon quietly deliver books to 6 residents of the village in need of some festive cheer, including a single dad of twins who was working hard to make ends meet, a teenage boy grieving for his big sister, a local member of parliament who is battling depression, and a teacher who's newly retired and living on her own. As the town prepares for a white Christmas, the books begin to give the recipients hope, one by one. But with the future of the bookshop still up in the air, Nora and Simon will need a Christmas miracle, or perhaps a little help from the people whose lives they've touched to find a happy ending of their own. Oh my gosh, this is the perfect holiday book, isn't it? It's got holiday spirit, it has books, it has people being healed through books. It is a perfect book for me and probably a lot of you listeners who appreciate the ideas on the Get Literate podcast. So that's Christmas by the Book by Anne Marie Ryan. So there you have it so far. 3 old favorites, plus 1 additional recommendation, and 3 books that are on my particular holiday TBR stack. But now I want to talk about 3 notebook prompts that you could take to a fresh page to help you get into the holiday spirit too. First up is a recommendation from Beth Kempton. Beth Kempton wrote the book called Calm Christmas and a Happy New Year. So yes, I am sneaking in one more book recommendation. If you haven't picked up Calm Christmas, I highly invite you to do so. And I also recommend that you find her Calm Christmas podcast as well. It comes out just once a year at this holiday time and is a beautiful reminder of what the holiday season should really be about. And I love listening. The podcast is filled with her beautiful voice and accent and wonderful Christmas music throughout. Just listening is going to get you in the holiday spirit. But she has a lot of great notebooking recommendations or just reflecting recommendations throughout her book. And I feel like this is one that I truly benefited from, and I think others might as well. And she says, in order to invite a calmer, more joyful celebration this season, we need to look closely at the narrative we have built around Christmas. What is the narrative? What is the story we are telling ourselves about the holiday season? And once we name what that narrative is, we can take ownership of it and we can rewrite it if we want to. So if we think about it, the world may say one thing about Christmas, right? The retail stores may say one thing about Christmas. But what's that story been for you? What does Christmas mean to you? Why does the holiday mean that to you? And is it what you actually want the holiday to be like? Or is it just what you've always done, how you've grown up, how the people around you feel about the holiday? Everything from the decorations you put up, the presents you buy or do not buy, the activities you engage in, the people you see, all of those things are part of your holiday story, your holiday narrative. And just taking a few moments to write out what that narrative is, what Christmas is like for you, what you want Christmas to be like for you, that can be enough to just see just enough on the outside to decide if you want to rewrite parts of that narrative. Maybe you want a different tradition. Maybe you want to do something completely different. Maybe you don't want to give as many gifts. Maybe you want to give more gifts, right? I don't know what those details are, but I loved the chance to just sit down to really think about what Christmas means to me, what it has meant to me. What's the story I'm telling myself about it? What's true about that story? What's not true? What can I decide about that story? And what can I change? And I just love the idea of taking pen to paper, or in my case, mechanical pencil to paper, and just thinking about my stories around the holiday and then literally rewriting the ones that I want to rewrite. It's a really powerful activity, along with all of the other suggestions that Beth Kempton has inside Calm Christmas. So this one might be for you if you just want to reflect on your ideas of Christmas and where they came from. If you want to really be intentional and meaningful about what takes your time this holiday season, or if the holiday just doesn't quite feel right yet, this is a good chance to see what comes out on the paper and then rewrite it so that it does. Now, my second prompt comes from Anna K. Morris, who is a mindset coach I recently had on the podcast, who talked about how to journal your way to a life you love and journal your way to a holiday you love. She has a course called Take Back the Holidays, and the first activity that she engaged us in that course literally saved my Thanksgiving. True story. So here's what she does. Anna recommends getting out your notebook, turning to a fresh page, and thinking back to your Christmas memories. Really go back and find a Christmas memory that just warms you up from the inside. What are those wonderful holiday memories that you have, whether that's way back in your childhood or just recently? And go ahead and list them out. You also could think about the not so great holiday memories, but don't focus on the not so great aspect. Focus on what that taught you about that holiday and how it will help you create a new one. So we want to feel good here. We want to feel all of the wonderfulness that comes from the holiday season, and we want to write down what brought it. Chances are it wasn't buying presents and doing the things that people say we should do. It was probably those special connected times with friends or family, or baking the cookies or doing the caroling or whatever it was for you. But jot down all of those memories. Just list out all the good. And if you have ones that are not so good, list out the opposite of what you would want to cultivate instead. And then sit for a minute and ask yourself, what do these memories evoke for feelings? How do these memories make me feel? How did I feel in those moments that I say are some of the best holiday memories I've had? Was it joyful, happy, calm, present, connected, grounded, magical, right? What are those feelings that you can remember on the page? And then think, which memories could teach me about those feelings, and which feelings do I want to hold on to this season? So Anna shared the idea of an anchor feeling, a feeling that you want to come back to again and again and again throughout the holiday season, so that it's truly aligned with what you want. Now, the thing is that the circumstances around us might not give us an opportunity to evoke that feeling, but how we respond to whatever happens around us can. So if you want a calm Christmas and life starts to fall apart around you, you can either join in the drama and get upset and get frustrated and rail against everything that's happening, or you can make a different decision. I know this from personal experience. This anchor feeling idea really, really works, right? If your anchor feeling was joyful, right, then you can make a choice not to get upset about those little things, like, is my bathroom clean for everybody coming over? Or did I put all the decorations out in the right place, right? Instead, you can worry about those things that bring joy and let go of the things that don't. Except I could never forget about the bathroom before people that come over either. But you get my point. What anchor feeling do you want to have this holiday season? And then how will you chase it? That is a beautiful prompt for your notebook. And I promise it can be a game changer for the days ahead. Number 3, this is a prompt that hasn't come from a book. It hasn't come from a podcast, but it does come from a Substack newsletter. I know, I get my ideas everywhere, but I subscribe to a Substack called Mothers Who Make. And in this really wonderful weekly, almost sometimes more than weekly, email, we learn about mothers who make. We learn about mothers who are trying to offer a gift, usually some sort of creative gift, to the world, while also being a mom and doing all the things. And so it's very inspiring because you feel connected to other moms. You also see how they're trying to bring their dreams to life. And it's just a really joyful, inspiring space. I was featured as one of those Substack emails, which I am very grateful for. And I talked about my idea of restorative reading, reading to help you grow through what you go through and just make life better. right? That involves reading rituals. It involves reading particular books that are so important to you. And it involves taking inspired action when you're done reading. So I got to talk about that idea in that email, in that Substack post. But I also was asked a couple of different questions that the Substack owner wanted the weekly contributors to talk about. And one of those questions was a question I've never thought of before. And it's a question that I chose to answer because I thought it was so creative and just gave me a different way of thinking about gifts. And that question was, if you could give one gift to the world, what would it be? If you could give one gift to the world, what would it be? And I'm suggesting this as a holiday notebooking idea because let's face it, the holidays are all about gifts. Not the only thing, not the most important thing, but every holiday that you might celebrate, right? Mine is Christmas, yours could be something else. There are typically gifts involved. And this is a different way of thinking about gifting. This is not a tangible gift. This is not a physical gift. But what's something that only you have? What's something that makes you you, that makes you unique, that is something authentic inside of you that you love, that you could share with the world? What would it be? And do you do it? And what if you did? I just love the idea of that question. In my response, I said I would gift everyone in the world their own personal book apothecary, which basically is a stack of books that is perfect for each person so that they can feel seen, they can see a little bit differently, and that could make the world a better place. What would it be for you? If you could give a gift to the world, what would it be? I think it's a really great way to think about the holiday season in the larger context of giving gifts and thinking about what really matters most in the holiday season. Now, those were my 3 ideas for your holiday notebooking, but I do have one bonus one that I think everybody should do, and I think you should do it right now. If you're not driving, if you're not walking, I really think you should push pause and you should get out a notebook, get out your favorite writing utensil, and right now list 25 self-care ideas that if you did one of these each day would just make December feel better for you. Full of health, full of rest, full of wellness, full of creativity, full of whatever you need. Is it getting your nails done? Allowing yourself 15 extra minutes of sleep? Making time to visit with a friend, going out holiday shopping and putting holiday music in your earbuds because you love it, right? What are the things that could bring you some self-care? Because the holidays are wonderful, but the holidays are busy and the holidays are challenging and the holidays have such duality in them. How could you make a list of self-care ideas for yourself and then challenge yourself to do one of them each day? That is the bonus that I think everyone should be doing right now. So let's think about it. 3 book favorites, 3 new books for the TBR, and 3 plus a bonus recommendations for your notebook. How could we not be ready for the holiday season after this episode? I know I am, and I'm hoping that it sparks some holiday cheer for you too. Now, you know what's coming next. I want your recommendations. I would love for you to head to alitlife.com, click on the link for the show notes for this episode, and send me your favorite holiday books in the comments. You can also find me online at social media. I am on all the platforms at AfinitoLit. You can find the post for this episode and reply there, or just send me a direct message and let me know the books that you think I should add to my TBR. And finally, don't forget there is an audio message button on every podcast platform. Right now, you could push that button and leave me a quick message with a title or 2, or maybe even a notebookish recommendation. So thank you so much for listening to this holiday cheerful episode of the Get Literate podcast. Here is to a wonderful season full of holiday cheer, full, of course, of reading and writing, and whatever makes you happy in this holiday season. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you inside the next episode. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Get Literate podcast. You'll find links to all the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. Plus, if you want more, you might like to join my Patreon community. There, you'll find additional inspiration for your reading and writing life, like bonus podcast episodes, bibliotherapy book calendars, monthly book clubs, notebooking challenges, live events, giveaways, and much, much more. It's only $5 a month, and you get instant access to all of the previous content too. You can learn more at getliterate.co. And one more thing, if you love what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish and notebookish community too. Thanks for listening.